Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Ja, kein Problem, Mrs. Davis. So, jetzt muss ich kurz einen Cut machen. Bin jetzt wieder da. So, da Oma nichts mehr weiß und wir hier nichts mehr bei Oma tun können.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Ja, Omi, ist okay. Chill your basics. Das ist ein komplizierter Fall wieder. Wann da? Dann gehen wir mal zu Harrys Baugelände. Schauen, was da abgeht. Also ein Credit heißt. Und checken mal da aus, was geht. Das ist die Geisterstunde, ne? Oh man. Murders.
And so we say to Harris and his cronies, no, we will not stand for this. Too many have died to allow this to continue. Steam tech must be stopped. The time has come to reject steam machines. They take our jobs, they take our families, they take our lives. We won't stand for this injustice any longer. Clyde Harris has no concern for the people who died aboard the Lygia or their families. The only thing that matters to him is lining his pockets with the misery of others. To this we say no! Lads, we will not just stand by and watch another bringer of fiery death hover over us. Mark my words, the HMS Lenore will not fly! And so we say to Harris and his cronies, no, we will not stand for this. Too many have died to allow this to continue. Steam tech must be stopped. The time has come to reject steam machines. They take our jobs, they take our families.
Ach so,
they
das geht
take
immer
our
so weiter,
lives.
okay.
Well, someone certainly wasn't shy about making their opinion known.
We won't stand for this injustice any
Okay, dann
longer.
hör mal zu.
Don't these people have jobs they need to go to?
Wohl nicht.
Pardon me, are you Arthur Devons by any chance?
Yes, who are you?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. Could I ask you a few questions?
Guess so, yeah.
Drohbrief.
You recognize this letter, Mr. Devons?
How'd you get that? That wasn't meant for you.
I found it at the home of Mr. Malcolm Harris. He tells me you've been sending quite a few of these to his father.
Me and everyone else would had someone killed by that devil machine. I'm not the only one, you know.
Perhaps not, but he told me you were the most persistent.
Ist trotzdem nicht so happy, Harrys Familie.
What have you got against the Harris family?
The family? Don't know nothing about the family. The only one I got a problem with is Clyde Harris, the one who owns this yard. He's just like all those other rich bastards with their heads in the clouds. The man don't care about the dead. He just wants to make as much money as he can. I'm just trying to make him realize how wrong he is.
Ah ja, Knochen und Staub. Wir fragen mal nach. Machen gleich mit der Entführung weiter.
Mr. Harris told me you send a bag of chicken bones and dust along with your letters. Why is that?
Chicken bones? Dust? Nah, that's not right. I've only sent letters.
Are you certain of that?
Yes, as sure as I'm standing here.
Right. And I'm the queen. I get the feeling this guy will crack if we figure out what the significance of his little gift is.
Okay, Protest.
Why are you out here protesting?
Because what Harris Construction is doing ain't right. I lost my wife in the Lygia crash, and I'm not the only one, neither. Hundreds of people were affected by that disaster, and now these bastards are making another airship. It's like a slap in the face to everyone who died. I just can't understand it.
What do you hope to accomplish by protesting?
Simple. We want construction of the Lenore stopped, and a full investigation into the Lygia disaster. Not only that, we want compensation for our losses. Royal Maverick took care of all the families of those on board, but the families of the ones in the park didn't get a single copper. It just isn't fair. We aim to make things right. After that, it'll just be a matter of time before people realize that there's no future in steam tech. and they'll call the whole thing off.
Ah, the innocence of the downtrodden. I wish I could be as naive as them. It would have made my life a lot easier.
So, Ehefrau?
You must have loved your wife very much.
Are you joking? I loved her more than there are stars in the sky. She was my whole world, Mr. Fordham, the light of my life. It's been nothing but cold and dark since she was killed. You're married, aren't you, Mr. Fordham? I see a ring on your finger.
I am, yes.
Then take my advice. Appreciate every moment you have with her. You never know when she'll be ripped out of your life, leaving you with nothing.
You know, this fellow was actually pretty wise. Maybe we misjudged him.
Ja, zerrissener Stoff.
Does this piece of fabric look familiar to you?
Looks like it came from some fancy jacket, the type you'd expect to see on the snobs in Leon. I could never afford clothes like that in a million years.
Knopf?
You recognize this button?
Can't say I do, but it looks handmade. I wonder how long it will be before the poor soul who crafted that button gets booted into the street, replaced with some steam-belching contraption.
Über ihn selbst?
You seem very dedicated to your cause.
I'll take that as a compliment, Mr. Fordham.
There's quite a lot of people who are against steam tech, aren't there?
Yes, the movement is gaining ground and growing rapidly, I'm pleased to say.
I've heard stories about some more extreme members. Do you know anything about that?
You mean the Redites? Sure, I've heard of them. Even met a few. But if you think I'm telling you anything else beyond that, you're sorely mistaken.
Are you a member of the Redites, Mr. Devons?
No, I prefer more peaceful methods of making my voice heard. Now, if you don't mind, I think we should drop the subject.
Einführung.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
Charles Harris? Who's that?
Clyde Harris's grandson.
I didn't even know we had a grandson. I can't believe someone with a grandkid, a family, would want more flying death in the air. How many more people have to die before someone realizes that steam machines are evil? People will kill their own mams for a crown these days.
Good day to you, Mr. Devons.
You too, Mr. Fordham. Clyde Harris has no concern for the people who died aboard the Lygia or their families. The only thing that matters to him is lining his pockets with the misery of others. To this we say no!
Wir gehen erstmal kurz woanders hin, weil das nervt. Langsam das ganze Rumgekröte da. Kreditbüro.
Hello, sir. Welcome to LaFay Lenders. I'm the owner, Chester LaFay. Are you looking to take out a loan?
Not today, I'm afraid. I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator.
Look, I don't know what you've heard, but I run a clean business here. I don't need any trouble.
And I'm not here to cause any, for the moment.
Just keep your nose where it belongs, and we should get along fine.
Notizbuch, Dokumente. Werde, was ist selbst, finde Roland den Musiker, mit Geldverleiher Mr. Lay spreche und forsche nach Infos Linda Walker beim Club der Geisterkundler. Arthurs Bedeutung rausfinden, Devins Geschenk. Okay. Ich muss erstmal
Do you suppose LaFay turns the heat up to put some pressure on his clients? Must be soothing for LaFay to be able to look at this landscape while he sits at his desk.
Der hat einen teuren Anzug, der ist braun. Sollte man mal ein Auge behalten. Chester LaFay.
He actually has a degree in business from the University of New Britannia? What a waste. LaFay with a woman and a small girl. I wouldn't have taken him for a family man.
Bild.
A crew escaping a shipwreck on a violent sea. Not the most comforting painting to look at while waiting for a loan. I shudder to think how many people's financial freedoms are locked away in that cabinet.
Analytisches Kalkumat.
That's the latest model Computron. They don't come cheap. LaFay must be doing pretty well for himself.
Der Teppich sieht aber ziemlich zerfetzt aus hier. Muss ich sagen. Na, reden wir mit ihm.
Mr. LaFay, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Fine, but keep it brief.
Malcolm Harris.
Tell me what you know about Malcolm Harris.
Ah, Mr. Harris. Took out a loan about a month ago. Still hasn't paid me back. In fact, he sent along a letter yesterday, saying he was having an emergency and needed more time. I probably should have refused to do business with him. As soon as he walked through the door, I could tell his type.
What type is that?
Upper class, bored with his life, trying to escape and doing it through vice. In his case, gambling.
This guy is good. Maybe you can pursue money lending if the whole private investigator thing doesn't work out.
But for some reason, I pitied him and decided to give him the loan anyway. Compassion isn't exactly an asset in this business, you see.
Nothing to worry about in your case, then.
Aside from that, I don't know anything about him. I prefer to keep how much I know about my clients to a minimum. Makes things easier for me.
Okay. Harris schuld erstmal.
Exactly how much did Mr. Harris borrow from you?
Is that relevant to your investigation?
It would help to have an idea of exactly how much he owes you, yes.
I don't feel comfortable telling you the exact amount, but I will say it was over 500 crowns.
A considerable sum.
Like I said, I probably shouldn't have done it, but I'll get the money back one way or another.
Schuldeneintreibung.
What's your policy regarding people who don't pay their loans back?
There are a few options. For the first 3 months or so, I'll send them a letter reminding them. After that, I start to threaten them with legal action. You wouldn't believe some of the things people do to avoid paying back their loans. One client went so far as to fake his own death.
Do you ever employ any more unusual methods?
If you're implying that I do anything illegal, Mr. Fordham, you're mistaken. Look, I have a family to consider. I'm not about to go getting my hands dirty when there's plenty of legitimate ways to handle the situation.
Zerrissener Stoff.
Take a look at this piece of fabric. Does it look familiar to you?
Sure, it looks like it came from a jacket. In fact, yes, it's the same fabric as the jacket I'm wearing.
Seine Jacke.
Would you mind if I took a look at your jacket?
Sure, not a problem. Here.
Da kann man grad gar nichts machen, ne? Die ist komplett. Logischerweise. Kommt gerade rein zu einem Notizbuch, schade. Okay. Schade, dass man nicht irgendwie in die Innentaschen noch was reingreifen können.
No tears in mine, huh?
Not a one. You clearly take good care of your clothing.
I don't mean to discourage you, Mr. Fordham, but I've seen a lot of people with this style of jacket. Hell, even Malcolm has one. I remember he was wearing it when he came in here.
I see. Thank you for the information, Mr. LeFay.
Können wir nichts mehr mit ihm reden?
I've got some more questions, Mr. LeFay.
Go ahead, then.
Ja, vor allem, was soll das? Entführung.
Are you aware that Malcolm's son, Charles, was kidnapped last night?
I had no idea he even had a son. As I said, I don't ask my clients too many personal questions. Though now you've told me, I suppose that would explain the emergency he mentioned in his letter. Poor guy.
Über ihn selbst?
Tell me a bit about yourself and your business, Mr. LeFay.
What's to tell? I lend people money, they pay me back.
Surely it's not that simple.
Well, of course I charge interest, otherwise I'd never make a profit. I know people don't look upon the service I provide very favorably, but without my help, there would be a lot more unhappiness in the world.
How did you go about starting up this business?
I didn't. My former employer, Mr. Roth, left it to me when he passed.
That was rather good of him.
Yes, well, he didn't have any heirs, and he considered me to be the son he never had. He was fond of my family, too. I try and keep my work and home life as far away from each other as I can, though. There's a lot of things in this line of work that my wife and daughter are better off not knowing about.
I think that's all for now.
Was sollen sie nicht erfahren? Okay, wir gehen mal raus. Tschüss, Mister. Gehen mal zurück. Komm,
Oh, Mr. Fordham. Oh, thank God you're back.
What's going on?
Our butler just brought this in. He found it stuck to the gate outside.
Familie Hess, wir haben deinen Sohn, wenn er den wiedersehen wollt, du müsst aufhören zu bauen, den neue Luftschiff, wir machen keinen Spaß. Okay, warte mal. Details, gewöhnliche Jacke, Verdächtige, Dokumente. Angeschriebene Notiz, Miss Miriam, Brief von Arthur Danvis. Ja, ich hasse. Miss Arthur Danvis finden, weil der Pressebrief natürlich auch geschrieben, weil die Rechtschreibung ist. Wir haben deinen Sohn, wenn ihr den wiedersehen wollt, müsst ihr aufhören, den neuen Luftschiff zu bauen. Macht keinen Spaß, Mann. Jetzt eine wirkliche Erinnerung, wie arg ich das hasse. Okay. Wir gehen mal kurz rein. Ja, die Foto hatte ich auch schon. Brauner Fetzen, da haben wir die braune Jacke gesehen gehabt, ne?
You don't suppose.
Vielleicht.
How about that?
It matches the piece of torn fabric perfectly.
So, this means...
It could mean many things. The only thing that's certain is that a piece of this jacket ended up on the floor of the nursery.
Seems like something worth asking Mr. Harris about.
Ja. Oh, kann ich hier auch noch drücken? Okay, egal. Schließen. Mr. Harris. Ich hätte auch so ein paar Fragen an Sie, ne? Wir speichern aber vorher mal.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Zerrissene Jacke. Pressebrief erstmal.
What is your opinion of this ransom note?
It's obvious who sent it, Mr. Fordham. Why are you wasting your time here? Go arrest Mr. Devons!
Zerrissene Jacke.
Mr. Harris, do you recall the torn piece of fabric I found in the nursery?
Yes, what about it?
As it turns out, one of the jackets in your wardrobe has a tear exactly the same size and shape as this one. Would you care to tell me how that happened?
That can't be.
I'm afraid it is. So explain it.
I have no explanation. The truth is, I haven't worn that jacket in weeks. I've no idea how it was torn.
Are you suggesting someone else took your jacket and wore it when the child was taken?
I don't know. Perhaps someone is trying to make it look as though I... But that's absurd. Why would I kidnap my own son?
Why indeed, Mr. Harris.
You really think he kidnapped his own son, Miles? Seems more likely he was set up. But he also doesn't strike me as a terribly good parent. Maybe it would serve him right to be blamed for this. We've done our part. The police can handle the search for the missing baby.
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right.
Können wir mit seiner Frau noch reden?
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
Ja, tu jetzt nicht so. Ein Pressebrief.
Did you read the ransom note?
No, Malcolm wouldn't let me. He said I was already too upset.
That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
Gut, nee, wir lösen den Fall jetzt noch nicht auf. Das machen wir nicht, das wird zu einfach. Gehen ins Ruhen Kaffee raus, fragen wir unsere liebe Dame hier nach, ob die weiß eventuell, wo wir diesen Typ auffinden können. Wäre für uns erstmal wichtig.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
Über sie selbst.
How's work going?
Hectic as usual. Crime in this city seems to be getting worse and worse every day.
I suppose that's the price of progress.
God help us if they ever actually discover that ethericity stuff then. Things between you and Adelaide getting any better?
I'm really not sure. They haven't gotten worse, but things haven't been the same between us since Bill died.
Well, you need to figure things out, or everything is just going to explode in your face one of these days.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Upton.
I'm merely speaking from experience. If I'd seen the warning signs of Harold sooner, it would have saved me quite the headache. At least your marriage seems like it's still worth saving.
Gut, der andere Fall. Der andere Fall?
What's the other case you mentioned? The one you said was a higher priority.
Well, it seems we might have a mass murderer on our hands.
You don't say.
That's right. I didn't say because I shouldn't say. But so far, we've had 3 murders with a very similar MO in the past 2 months. Snelling is trying his hardest to keep it under wraps since the newspapers already caught wind of the first 2.
I don't envy the department there. I'm happy to stick with the missing persons and domestic disputes.
Fall nochmal durchgehen.
Can we go over my current case?
Of course. What have you got?
So was
I
noch
found
Stoff.
this torn piece of fabric at the crime scene. It's got an emblem with some initials on it.
I recognize that emblem. It's from Solomon Stitching, a little tailor shop in Lyon. My ex-husband had several jackets from there.
Sorry to dredge up old memories, but do you remember where they're located?
I believe it's on the corner of Bonneville Street and Surratt Avenue.
Fantastic. You're helpful as always, Upton.